This video is going to detail experiment 8, determining the molar volume of hydrogen gas. We're going to begin by determining our calibrated volume. So we are just going to add water to our burette, and we want that to reach exactly the 50.00 milliliter line. So you want to drain until you get to exactly that line, and then you want to leave the burette to sit for about 2 minutes. What you might notice is that the water level raises over time as water travels down the sides of the burette. So after you've let your burette sit for a couple of minutes, drain it again until you get exactly to that 50.00 milliliter line, and then you will transfer this water into your weighing bottle just by opening the stopcock. Now that our volume level is exactly at the 50.00 milliliter line, we're ready to transfer that water into our pre-weighed, clean, dry weighing bottle. To do that, we're just going to open the stopcock of the burette and allow the water to drain into the weighing bottle. At this point, you will be ready to take your weighing bottle with the water in it into the balance room and get the mass. Because you have the mass of your clean, dry weighing bottle, you can then obtain the mass of water using the mass by difference method. Now we're going to prepare our copper wire cage for our magnesium ribbon. Now in order to do that, we're going to take a piece of copper wire and a glass stirring rod. And you're just going to wrap the end of the copper wire around the glass stirring rod about 4 or 5 times. You can then remove the copper wire from the glass stirring rod, and you're just kind of going to compress that spring of copper wire so that it's a little bit smaller and a little tighter. And so now we're going to take our magnesium ribbon and we're going to just slide that into the center of our copper wire cage. We want to make sure that the magnesium ribbon is secured tightly and secured well inside our cage. So you may have to fold the magnesium ribbon over the sides, or you may have to compress your copper wire cage a bit more. Now you're going to put a bend on the opposite end of the copper wire. That's what you're going to use to hang the magnesium into the burette. We're going to take our plastic bin and we're going to fill that up with water. It's not important if that's deionized water or if it's just regular tap water. Regular tap water will do just fine. We don't want to fill the bin all the way to the very top. We want to leave it about 1 inch below the top. So once we've got that filled with water, we're going to go ahead and place that underneath our burette. We're going to remove the burette from the burette clamp, and we're going to add 10 milliliters of 6 molar hydrochloric acid into the burette. You want to make sure that you're wearing gloves when you're handling 6 molar hydrochloric acid, and if you get any acid on you, you can just change your gloves. It's also important that your stopcock is closed here. So once you've added the 10 milliliters of hydrochloric acid, you can put the burette back in the stand and begin to add water on top of the 6 molar hydrochloric acid. You can use your wash bottle, and you want to add this water very slowly so as not to disturb the 6 molar hydrochloric acid. What you're going to notice is that you can see 2 distinct layers. You can see where the 6 molar hydrochloric acid is on the bottom, and then as you begin to add water, you can see the water add to the top of that. And you're going to fill your burette up to about the 0.00 milliliter line. And you should already have your copper wire cage with the magnesium in it prepared. So once your water is up to the 0.00 milliliter line, you're going to take that cage and you're just going to hang it over the top of the burette. Then you want to add enough water to fill the burette all the way to the very top. Then you're going to use your pointer finger to cover the top of the burette and then remove it from the clamp. You're going to very carefully and slowly invert it. And then you're going to put your finger over the top of the burette beneath the water level line. Once it's beneath that line, you can go ahead and remove your finger and secure it to the clamp. Now what you're going to notice is that the 6 molar hydrochloric acid is going to begin to diffuse down through the water. So you can see it's a little bit hazy as the 6 molar hydrochloric acid begins to move down the burette. Eventually, that's going to end up reaching our magnesium ribbon, which is at the bottom of the burette. And when that happens, what you're going to notice is hydrogen gas begins to be produced from the surface of the magnesium ribbon. You'll see some bubbles begin to form, and those will travel up to the top of the burette. So over time, the hydrogen gas is going to evolve to the top of the burette, and the reaction is complete once you see no more bubbles of hydrogen gas being formed. So we're going to allow the burette to sit for about 2 minutes to allow the gas to equilibrate with the surroundings. And you can see that there are still a few bubbles down toward the copper wire, so we're allowing it to equilibrate so we can let all of those things work themselves out. And so now we're ready to read our water level. So we're going to read from the bottom of the meniscus. Remember, the burette is upside down, so make sure that you are reading the burette properly. That's very important. And so once you have that, you also want to measure the height of the water, which is the distance from the top of the water to the bottom of the meniscus. And at that point, once you've obtained that measurement, you're ready to start your cleanup. So you can go ahead and raise the burette and the burette clamp a little bit. Put your finger back over the top of the burette, remove it from the burette clamp, and then once again gently invert the burette so that it is now right side up. And now we're ready to clean up, and all we're going to do is just drain all of the liquid from the burette into the sink and put it down the drain with lots of water.